Hey everybody, Lucas here coming to you from the AMS Student Center lobby. We miss seeing you guys in this building. We love you guys. And just welcome to the teaching time for Life Group for this week. And so this is part 3 of a 3-part series called A New Thing. As we're stepping in this new year, we know that God is doing a new thing because He's promised us that He's doing a new thing in our lives and He's making a way for us. And we see this in Isaiah 43, 18 through 19, when God says, "Behold, I'm doing a new thing. I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert." God is doing a new thing. He's making a way for us. And we've talked about 2 ways He's doing that so far, 2 truths that we can sit around in this theme. And part 1 is this, that God is the way maker. He is the bringer of new, and we are called to live in dependence upon Him. And part 2 is that God makes a way. The way that God is making in our lives is He's making a way where there wasn't one. He's making a way in our lives in the place where there wasn't a way. He's providing in the way that only He can. He wants to make a way in the impossible, unconquerable, stress-filled areas in our lives, the areas that we feel the most weak. He's making a way there. And then today we're going to talk about this idea that we are called to watch for the springs. In the verse it says this, it says, "Behold, I'm making a way. Do you not perceive it? It springs up." And so we are called as children of God and followers of Christ to watch for the springs of newness that are coming up in our lives. And so point 1 is this: we are called to live in continual expectation that God is doing a new thing on our behalf. In order to perceive something, in order to perceive that God is doing new in our lives, we must believe that He is able and that He is working on our behalf. It shouldn't be a surprise to us that God is moving for us. We should expect it. As children of God, because of what Christ did for us, we should wake every morning with expectation that God is on the move in our lives. It shouldn't be a surprise to us. We should expect it. And so then that leads us into point 2, that if we're going to live in continual expectation every day that God is moving in our lives, then our lives should be defined by awareness and intentionality. Because if God is on the move in our lives, we should live in a way that's intentional and proactive so we can keep in step with the things that God's doing in our lives. We can continue to learn the newness that God is bringing in our lives, and we can follow the Spirit's leadings. And we can live in a way that's intentional and proactive instead of being passive and being a bystander and being a wanderer in our own lives. I love what Ephesians 5 says. It says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity." We get this call to make the most of every opportunity, to not be like the unwise, to not be the foolish, but to understand what the Lord's will is and to pursue those opportunities. God is springing up new opportunities in our lives to serve Him, to follow Him as we're called to. And we should be intentional and proactive every single day to keep in step with those opportunities. We should reflect at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day to see what God is doing and to lean into what God is doing in our lives and to not be bystanders in our own lives. And then lastly this, it's our role in the process. And our role is this: to put ourselves in positions to hear and see the new. To put ourselves in positions to hear and see the new. And I know you hear these things a lot, but there's some strategic ways that you as a follower of Christ, there's disciplines that you can lean into that help you see what God's doing in your life, to hear what God is doing in your life. And there's 3 simple ones: to study Scripture. As Psalm 119 says, "The word of the Lord is a light to our path. It illuminates our path." And so if we study Scripture, we can see and perceive the newness that God is bringing in our lives. The next thing we can do is pray. Just like we talked about last week, Matthew 7, "Ask and you shall receive." Pray and ask God to reveal the new that He's doing in your life. When you think you see God doing something new in your life, ask Him for confirmation. And He will give you an answer of, yes, that is a new area that I'm giving you, or this is a new thing that I want you to serve in. Ask, pray, and seek His wisdom and His guidance. And lastly, spend time in Christian community. Outlets such as life groups, or outlets such as just spending time with your friends that you know love Jesus. These situations and these opportunities are chances for you to encourage and build up your fellow Christ-following friends, and also for them to encourage and build you up as well, and for y'all to collectively see and call out the newness and the things that God is doing in your lives. Our role is to put ourselves in position to see and hear what God is doing in our lives. And so let's perceive it. Let's put ourselves daily in a position where we expect God to move and that we can see what He's doing in our lives. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in.